Hello my dear students, welcome back to the next session of Kingdom Animalia. Today we will discuss regarding the broad classification of Kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Animalia, which is classified into two major groups, that is said to be as non-chordates and chordates. Okay, non-chordates and chordates. Non-chordates are those species which are lacking. They are lacking notochord. They don't have notochord. The species which are not having notochord, they are said to be as non-chordates. And chordates are those species which do have notochord. Notochord. They are having notochord, and here, no, the species they are not having notochord. And in non-chordates, we are going to sub-classify into as phylums. Those phylums are as phylum Porifera, which we mainly deal with the sponges. Phylum Cnidaria. Now we will talk about coelentrates like Hydra, next we will talk about the phylum Ctenophora. Best example I can give, Pleurodontia. Then we talk about a phylum Platyhelminthes. Best example you can go for Platyhelminthes, flatworm, that is tapeworm. Like the phylum Aschelminthes. Example as Ascaris, phylum Annelida. Example you can make it as earthworm, phylum Arthropoda. All insects comes here, that is cockroach. Phylum Mollusca. Example snail and phylum Gynodon. example starfish. We have one more that I'll continue here only. Phylum Hemichordata. Okay, so continue part of it. So in chordates are those species which they are devoid of notochord. They don't have notochord. They won't possess notochord. Okay, and in this non-chordates, we are going to study these many phylums, which are those Porifera phylum, Porifera, Cnidaria, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthes, Annelids, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and even Hemichordata. These all belongs to one, which belongs to non-chordata. If we talk about the chordates, chordates are those animals which are having notochord. They do have a proper optimum notochord, functional notochord. And chordates are divided into three different types, that is Urochordates, Cephalochordates, Urochordates, Cephalochordates, and vertebrates. Okay, chordates are subdivided as Urochordates, Cephalochordates, and vertebrates. So Urochordates are those species which have notochord at tail. The species which are having the notochord towards tail, those species are said to be as Urochordates. Cephalochordates, they have a notochord. Notochord is present head to tail. Entire the length of the body, they do have proper notochord. And in vertebrates, notochord is replaced by vertebral column. Notochord is replaced by vertebral column. They have vertebral column. Okay, so these are about the broad classification of chordates. Chordates are subdivided as Urochordates, Cephalochordates, and vertebrates. And vertebrates are sub-classified into two categories. That is Agnatostomata, Gnatostomata, and Gnatostomata. Agnata refers to jawless species or jawless fishes species. Jawless species. Okay, jaw is nothing but this is said to be a jaw. Okay, so the species which doesn't have jaw, they are devoid of jaws. Those species are said to be as agnata. A stands for absence, gnata means jaw, stoma means mouth. Mouth which is devoid of jaw is said to be as agnata species. And gnatostomata means the species which are having prominent jaw. They are said to be as gnatostomata. They are having prominent jaws. Okay, they do have jaws. And gnatostomatas are again subclassified into, on the basis of locomotory organs, on the basis of locomotory organs, they are classified into two categories. That is, animals which have fins, animals which have limbs. Okay. So here, fins, the animals which are fins, they are said to be as Pisces. They are said to be as class Pisces. Class Pisces. And here limbs, they are said to be as class Tetrapoda. That's it, because class Tetrapoda. Okay. In the Pisces, we have two different categories. One is said to be as bony fishes. Bony fishes. Second one is said to be as cartilaginous fishes. Right? Bony fishes, cartilaginous fishes. Bony fishes are said to be as Ostreichthyes, and cartilaginous fishes are said to be as Chondrichthyes. Okay, bony fishes are said to be as Ostreichthyes, whose endoskeleton is made up of bones. That's why they are said to be as bony fishes. Cartilaginous fishes, they are said to be as Chondrichthyes, whose endoskeleton is made up of cartilage. Here in tetrapod, we have four classes, superclass classes, that is amphibians, reptiles, aves, and mammals. These are the four classes that we are going to study: amphibians, mammals, reptiles, and aves. So here in this thing we will study the class Pisces. These Pisces, in that Pisces we are going to study regarding bony fishes and cartilaginous fishes. So this is the broad classification of kingdom Animalia. We have invertebrates and vertebrates. Invertebrates are also said to be as non-chordate, with the animals which are not having notochord, and the vertebrates are those animals which are having prominent notochord. In invertebrates we have different phylums. So that is phylum Porifera, Nidaria, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Asciahelminthes, Annelids, Arthropod, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and Hemichordata. Whereas in chordates, it has been subclassified as Urochordates, Cephalochordates vertebrates. Urochordates are those species where the notochord is present towards the tail. Cephalochordates are those species whose notochord is present from head to tail. Whereas vertebrates are those species whose notochord has been replaced by vertebral column. And again, vertebrates which has been subclassified as into Agnathostomatas and Gnathostomatas. Agnatha refers to jawless species, the animals which are not having jaw. And Gnathostomata is nothing but they are having jaw. They do have jaw. They are having prominent jaws. And in Gnathostomatas, animals are classified on the basis of their locomotory organs. Species which are having fins, they have been called as class Pisces. Okay, in the class Pisces, we are going to study regarding bony fishes and cartilaginous fishes, which is said to be as Ostreichthyes and Chondrichthyes. And again, another category we are going to do, that is on the basis of limbs, the animals which are having limbs as a locomotory organs. So those are again classified in the class Amphibia, class Reptilia, class Aves, and class Mammals. So one by one we will study with we'll go deep in the animal kingdom, and we'll come to know which are the species and how they have been arranged. Okay. Now we'll study the first phylum in the kingdom Animalia, that is phylum Porifera. Phylum Porifera. The term Porifera itself is being studied as porous species, means the species which are having holes on their entire body surface, those species are said to be as poriferans. Fera refers to bearing or having. Pore bearing animals, these are also called as pore bearing animals. Poriferans are said to be as pore bearing animals. And poriferans, first we'll study the general characteristics of poriferans, later on we'll go to the physiological characteristics of poriferans. Okay, so here poriferans, these are marine species. Marine species refers to the animals which are restricted to live only in salt water, means they live in sea. So those species are said to be as marine species. And there is only one exceptional species is there in Porifera, that is Spongilla, which is a freshwater breed. Okay, Spongilla is an animal of poriferans, so which lives in fresh water. That is exceptional that you are going to see in the poriferans. All species which lives in the marine or salt water, whereas only one species which lives in the fresh water. And poriferans are diploblastic species. We have studied during the classification of the species. In that we told regarding the what do you mean by the diploblastic. Diploblastic means the animals which are having only 2 germ layers. So on that basis we are using the term that is diploblastic. They do have only 2 germ layers. If suppose the animal is like this, okay, and it is having numerous pores on their body, like this. No, something like this. Okay, and this is the opening. These are the numerous openings where that you are going to see on the animal surface, and it is made up of 2 layers. This is the external layer, this is the internal layer. This external layer, outside layer, this layer is called as pinacoderm. This layer is said to be as pinacoderm. This pinacoderm, which is made up of specialized cells, those are called as pinacocytes. These are flat cells. Okay, they make this layer, okay, like this. So this is the pinacocytes which makes a layer. That layer is said to be as pinacoderm. Whereas this layer, inside layer, okay, the innermost layer, this layer is said to be as choanoderm. This layer is said to be as choanoderm. This is made up of choanoderm. sites. Okay, it is made up of choanocytes and this is made up of pinacocytes. Okay, these choanocytes, they are also called as collar cells. They are also called as collar cells. They used to appear like this, and they are flagellated, something like this. Okay, so they are present on the innermost surface. They are present on the innermost surface and making a protective layer inside this lumen. This lumen, the lumen which that you are going to see in these animals, this lumen is called as spongocyte. This lumen is said to be as spongocyte. And poriferans are sessile animals. Sessile refers to the animals which are attached to a substrate, which are not able to move from one place to another place. Okay, those species are said to be as sessile animals. So it is got deleted. They are said to be as sessile animals, and these animals are attached to a substrate. They are attached to the substrate like this. Okay, they are fixed. They are not able to move from one region to another region. And poriferans are diploblastic. Poriferans are sessile animals. And if you talk about their on the basis of the the arrangement of this choanocytes, poriferans are of two types. That is said to be as cycon type, where suppose if you consider, if I enlarge this particular part to layer, and this is the there. Okay, cycon type, where this cells which are arranged on the innermost layer towards the lumen, those type are said to be as cycon type. And another type that you are going to see, that is called as the leucon type. Leucon refers to the cells, the choanocytes, which are present on the superficial layer of the pore. Okay, as I told that they are pore bearing. These animals are itself, they are said to be as pore bearing species. They do have pores. This pore, which refers to as inlet pore, whereas this pore, this bigger pore, which is said to be as outlet pore. Inlet pore, which is called as ostia. Outlet pore, which is called as ossiculum. Okay, the current of water enters through this inlet pore, provide all the necessary materials for the survival of this animal, where the food, everything which is being taken inside, okay, food is being absorbed, digested, and later the food, undigested food or the metabolic waste materials which is get eliminated out from this outlet pore, that pore is called as ossiculum. It is said to be as ossiculum. Okay, so they have two pores, as the small pores are called as ostia. Please do remember, that is the smallest pores which are found entire surface of this animal body, those are said to be as ostia. And The larger pores are said to be as ossiculum. The bigger pores are said to be as ossiculum, right? Then we'll move on to the next part of this phylum Porifera. We'll talk about the physiological characteristics of poriferans. First, we'll talk about the digestion, okay, and a type of digestive system. Type of digestive system. Okay. Poriferans are the animals whose body is said to be as cell aggregated form. In that we do see the type of digestion which is said to be as intracellular. Okay, intracellular refers to that the digestion takes place within the cell. I told you in the previous class, that is, digestion takes place within the cell is said to be as intracellular mode of digestion. Whereas type of digestive system these animals they are having that is cell aggregated form. Okay, inlet of food takes place through the small pore, and undigested food is being eliminated out from the bigger pore, right? Then respiration. How do these animals they respire? These animals they respire with the help of body surface. They don't have any specific structures for the exchange of respiratory gases, like how we are having lungs for the exchange of the respiratory gases. These smaller creatures, they are lacking respiratory structure. They have a permeable body surface. With the help of that body surface, they will exchange the respiratory gases. So respiration with the help of body surface. Circulation. They won't possess any circulation, no circulatory system at all. No circulatory system. No circulatory system. No blood at all. These animals they won't possess any blood. So no circulation. Excretion. See, excretion is also being performed with the help of the permeable body surface. Which does many function in these lower organisms, where they eliminate all the nitrogenous waste material with the help of the body surface. And endoskeleton. Here, these animals they have endoskeleton that is made up of two different types, that is spongin fibers and spicules. Okay, two different types of structures which will give a proper framework to these animals: spongin fibers and spicules. Spicules are of two types here. You need to make a note here. Spicules, they are calcareous and silicous. Okay, calcareous spicules which is made up of calcium carbonate, whereas silicous spicules are made up of silica. Okay, these are the structures which will aid in making the framework of the animal body. Then The next character that we are going to study, next physiological character that we are going to study, reproduction. How do these organisms they reproduce? These animals they reproduce by both means, by asexual method and sexual method. By asexual method they make budding. Budding are of two different types. Those are said to be as exogenous budding and endogenous budding. Exogenous budding is a kind of budding which grows, which is the outgrowth of a cells on the superficial layer of the animal body, whereas endogenous budding is a group of cells which are growing within the lumen of the animal body, is said to be as endogenous budding. These bud, suppose the animal is there, suppose this is the animal, right? This is the large pore, ossiculum, and these are the smallest pores that you are going to see. Those are said to be as ostia, and which is attached to a substrate, right? Then, if suppose if we are talking about the endogenous, the cells which are grown within the lumen, right? Within the lumen, these are said to be as endogenous cells. These are also called as gemmules. These are also called as gemmules. These gemmules are having totipotency. Totipotency is nothing but it is having the capacity to form a new animal by dividing and redividing. It will form a new animal. So that condition is said to be as totipotency, right? So animals they reproduce by asexual method with the help of budding. That is, budding are of two types: exogenous budding as well as endogenous budding. In sexual reproduction, they form gametes. And they undergo fusion of gametes and fertilization. Fertilization is internal. They do show internal fertilization. And development is indirect. Development is indirect. Indirect refers to it has to pass through a larval stage. So what is that larva which the animals undergo? That larva it has to undergo larval stage. Polyarchifloem. Okay, that is the larva where the animals undergo larval stage. The best examples we are going to give for the poriferans, that is cycon. Okay, the best example that you can quote for is animals, that is cycons. Okay guys, today we are studying regarding the characteristics of poriferans. Poriferans are those animals which are said to be as the pore bearing animals. They do have pores on their body surface, right? And poriferans are exclusively marine species only one exceptional species, that is said to be as Spongilla, which is a freshwater breed, and they are diploblastic. Okay, they are sessile species. They are attached to a substrate. They are not able to move from one place to another place, and they do have pores on their body surface. Smallest pores are said to be as ostia. The bigger pore, which is said to be as ossiculum, and they do show intracellular digestion. They are having the cell aggregated body form, right? They respire with the help of body surface, excretion with the help of body surface, respiration with the help of body surface. They have endoskeleton. Those endoskeletons are said to be as the spicules as well as spongial fibers. There are two different types of spicules: calcareous spicules as well as calcareous spicules as well as silicous spicules. That will act like a endoskeleton for those animals. Reproduction: the animals, they form two different mode of reproduction, sexual as well as asexual. Fertilization is internal, development is indirect, and it has to pass through a larval stage. Best example I can quote for these animals, that is cycon. So we will conclude this session, and in next class we will study regarding the next phylum, that is phylum Pterophora. Thank you.